good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever everybody might be, and thank you very much for your time for this. I'm representing Mobinet as their CEO, and I'm here to talk about technology and how that can impact the landscape of Africa. Mobinet Group itself is a financial technology company out of Hong Kong, but we focus in Africa, we're in Nigeria, Ghana, Uganda, and a few other countries, trying to drive financial inclusion and try to enable Africans to benefit financially and socially from developments of technology. This presentation is going to focus on three key areas: payments, agriculture, and SMEs. We all know about payments. Everybody knows about cash. Cash is king, but digital is growing, especially during this COVID period. The payment landscape in sub-Saharan Africa continues to evolve on the back of innovation, bringing about a lot of payment solutions and a lot of new entry of dynamic market players. There's been a rise in EFTs, electronic fund transfers, POS, and mobile channels. And this continues to grow based on the various limitations being put in place on paper trades. Mobile money itself is especially used for underdeveloped payment systems. Mobile money has actually become the largest digital channel of payment in Africa. Prior to COVID, cards and POS devices were very popular. They were sort of helping in pushing from a cash-based society to a cashless society. However, we have to be mindful of limitations in cards and POS due to hardware costs, transactional costs, and actual connectivity issues. So what happened during COVID? What happened during this pandemic? As many companies pivoted to digital cash payments, even the World Health Organization highlighted that money transfers in Africa meant a safer environment. The whole idea was to push a lot of organizations into a digital cashless payment scenario, which also helps financial inclusion. The crisis itself came about and brought a lot of innovation in service delivery. For example, when you get governments paying to people. And during this period, there's been new innovation, for example, in Nigeria, with the Nigerian Interbanking Settlement System, the NQR, which is another example of a new innovation that came in during the period of COVID. Using QR code for payments. QR codes are an alternative to POS and bank transfers. They're swift, contactless, and enables merchants to receive instant payment regardless of location. Asia, as we know, with the likes of Tencent Pay, Alipay, they've been the front runner in adoption of QR codes. They've been using this since 2011. So we're about 10 years behind, but the technology works and is adaptable, which is why we're using it in Nigeria, we're using it in Ghana, and I think those are the two countries so far that are predominantly using QR codes in Africa. The solution itself enables consumers to make instant payments from mobile wallets, cards, and bank accounts by simply scanning QR codes with their mobile phones. However, as usual, we have to be mindful of limitations of smartphones itself in terms of smartphone penetration. Although the cost of smartphones are a lot cheaper, and this way enables a lot more people to be part of the process of using smartphones and QR code. What do you think will happen in sub-Saharan Africa? For organizations and businesses in the continent, digitizing has moved from a good to have to a survival game changer in what has become the new norm. We believe African governments and regulators will enforce measures aimed at facilitating more cashless transactions. We'll have various governments and central banks that will actively start driving cashless policies. Mobile money will continue to bridge the financial inclusion gap, especially in sub-Saharan Africa. And if we talk about Africa, we have to talk about the largest economies: Angola, Egypt, Nigeria, South Africa. We believe they'll be hindered by systemic challenges, such as low commodity prices, uncompetitive regulatory and labor regimes, as well as the countries' or nations' indebtedness. There are so many challenges, opportunities, and solutions ahead. One of the main things we have to do, African countries need to close the digital infrastructure gap and produce high quality, affordable, and reliable services to the end users. Interoperable payment systems need to be built. And there are two ways to achieve interoperability. One is a mandated approach by regulations, governments, central banks, and an industry-led approach where the private sector players decide to work together. Another barrier to payments, digital payment, is the high cost to entry. So things have to be built that are easily scalable to overall reduce the cost per transaction in the future. Currently, mobile money is taking off in a lot of countries, but its impact is still not as great as it could be, simply because end users encash their mobile money to pay for goods and services. So we need to find a situation where we digitize a complete ecosystem to stop consumers from cashing out at banks and agents to then spend cash at the merchants. Another thing that has to be done or considered is remittance, where people providing service providers for remittance, as well as their senders and receivers, should be able to easily plug into the banking network or the banking sector itself. Now let's look at mobile money opportunities. In 2020, the total mobile money value processed in a day was $2.1 billion. And this is forecasted to grow to $3 billion in 2022. So being a player in the mobile money industry as an agent or as a facilitator creates jobs, brings about income in sub-Saharan Africa or all through Africa itself. End users can then have fast access to funds to help them grow their businesses, or in certain cases, for farmers to increase their outputs. We'll talk about agriculture. As we all know, agriculture continues to be the main source of livelihood of smallholder households in sub-Saharan Africa. The chart ahead is a chart from the World Bank website, and it talks about the changes pre-COVID and during COVID. Prior to the outbreak, 76% of Nigerian households were involved in agriculture, either crop or livestock farming. But this has increased to 84% since the start of the pandemic. Malawi started at 84%, jumped to 91%, and Uganda from 76% to 79%. Still, prior to COVID, technology transformations in agriculture were becoming quite known. The introduction of drone technology as a platform for image data acquisition enabled early identification of diseases and pests. Drones themselves can also help with precise application of fertilizers or pesticides where necessary. They can improve productivity by assessing soil conditions and potential yield before the vegetation cycle actually commences. According to a 2019 article by McKinsey, Africa could produce 2 to 3 times more cereals and grains. 2 to 3 times. This implies that Africa's full potential in agriculture is far from fulfilled. We can produce and we can feed ourselves. Prior to COVID in itself, sub-Saharan African food system was already under stress, simply because of things like cold storage facility, lack of funding for farmers, and this has been intensified during this period. What do we think will happen in the future, especially with technology? The Internet of Things has made remarkable progress in agriculture, farming, fishing, poultry, etc. In developing countries, IoT has been used to benefit farmers by increasing production and reducing operating costs. However, the solution are still out of reach for a lot of people in Africa. But for IoT to continue growing, dedicated efforts to build base stations and Wi-Fi stations in farming areas are extremely critical. This can be argued to be the responsibility of governments or very private companies involved in developing agriculture. Versatile IoT platforms that take in sensory data from sensors in the field could be farms, on buildings, warehouses, storage facilities for monitoring purposes. This data will go through data acquisition, giving actionable feedback to the end user. Could be a farmer, could be somebody looking after storage containers. This to help yield improvement, risk mitigation, and increase profitability. In general, the share of households that have entered agriculture since the start of the pandemic is increased. And you have a lot of innovative digital solutions to provide streamlined and more reliable distribution for inputs and produce. This is now becoming the norm. Innovative solutions such as Twiga Foods in Kenya, where they use a mobile-based business-to-business platform to connect farmers directly to buyers of farm produce. It is stated that more than 150 million Africans could lose all or part of their livelihood as a result of the pandemic. Job losses, especially in the informal sector. So we need to find a way of using the right technology for the environments we operate in to reduce the impact of that. There will always be challenges, and also there will always be opportunities. Digital technologies have the potential to transform and modernize agriculture. They can help farmers meet their ample information needs, be it weather forecasts, extension services, market information, and logistics. Satellite information services are improving herd management among pastoralists in places like Mali and Burkina Faso. Mobile phones will continue to be used, and this is also being used in Nigeria for the distribution of seeds and fertilizers in remote areas. Unfortunately, the disruption of this in the supply chain from developed countries during the pandemic had an adverse effect on production demand from a lot of countries within Africa. Countries such as Cote d'Ivoire, Ethiopia, Ghana, Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, who relied heavily on exports, were severely impacted. Digital marketing, the offering of digital financial products and tracking of supply chain to monitor logistics and storage offers huge opportunities for agricultural players. Storage facilities, especially cold storage, to prolong the shelf life of fresh produce, such as fruits and vegetables, are essential. And it is essential that whatever solutions we're talking about, especially for agriculture, is focused on providing better nutrition with less resources and more output. Another key aspect that should be discussed is small and medium enterprises. They comprise the backbone of Africa's economy, especially sub-Saharan Africa. Unfortunately, one of the main issues affecting SMEs has been financing, which has historically hindered their growth. According to SMEDAN, Nigeria National Survey of 2017, there were around 41.5 million SMEs in Nigeria. When 2021, I could easily bet that this number is nothing less than 45 million. Generally to date, there's usually a lack of efficient and effective way of managing and assisting SMEs, especially farmers, because one way or the other, agriculture is very important to every African economy. Either funding them one way or the other, either via loans or via grants. What has happened during COVID itself? The economic downturn African countries are experiencing due to the pandemic are especially vulnerable, and it's been hit really drastically at the production end of businesses. We believe that there was a survey done by Business Pulse across 18 countries, which showed 22% of the firms reported started or increased the use of internet, social media, and digital platforms since the onset of the pandemic. What is now happening is you're coming across a lot of innovative solutions. For example, providing an aggregation platform, an offtake liaison for small businesses. A company called Excite Enterprise in Nigeria is doing that. They offer innovative services to develop and deepen markets for SMEs, providing entrepreneurs access to consumers, marketing, brand management, tax solutions, and business management, thereby increasing sales and profitability. It's actually a one-stop shop for improving the lives of SMEs. What do we expect might happen in the future? Africa's support structure for creating and sustaining SMEs will require a strong technological component. Governments should be encouraged to set up innovation funds to support SMEs in innovation and harnessing of emerging technologies as applicable to them. The funding itself can be through tax incentives or can be direct funding of the SMEs. And as said previously, it will be useful for us if we produce what we eat and we eat what we produce. This will help SMEs in the farming industry, in the production industry, in the logistics industry as well. There are always challenges in anything we're looking at. Although SMEs have been identified as catalysts to socio-economic recovery in the whole continent post-COVID-19, the main challenges that we deal with: the lack of managerial skills, the lack of finance, the lack of innovation, political and religious issues in certain places, social and cultural dilemmas, the economy itself, environmental challenges, and very poor infrastructure. We have talked about capacity building startup companies such as Excite. And one of the other things they do is they assist in sourcing financing, which is extremely critical for SMEs, but also in wealth creation through technology. In short, where's this all leading us? We believe governments in the region need to implement a policy package that supports sustained private investments. Policies that build on human capital and enable trade can help increase productivity and boost Africa's growth. Reforms addressing digital infrastructure gaps, affordability, and digital literacy play a role in expanding access to digital technologies. The regulatory framework that provides the right incentives for innovation and competition, even among mobile operators, is also required because they have the most reach to end users across Africa. How do we support people during the whole transition? We need to focus on policies that maintain household consumption amongst the bottom 75 to 80% of households. The guys are easily affected by any changes in the economy due to limited savings. Policies that protect the incomes of urban wage and salary employees, because nobody knows if there's going to be any further pandemics down the line or what the governments might do in terms of lockdowns. We need to protect the health of urban informal sector workers by providing simple things, access to soap, water, sanitizers, and distributing masks and gloves to informal traders and service providers. We need to reduce food spoilage and support incomes. As a matter of fact, we have to declare transport of food from the farm gate to markets an essential service, which keeps the whole SME industry, the whole farming industry, the whole logistic aspect operational. We need to ensure in certain countries that the police protect the livelihoods of informal vendors, especially in urban areas, rather than using the COVID-19 emergency to harass them. There will always be opportunities, endless opportunities, with the right mindset. Indications regarding the shape of the future global economy can be gleaned from the handful of sectors that thrived amid the pandemic. Those sectors include innovative technology and digital businesses offering connective products and services, as well as online retailers, service producers, their supply chain, and their logistic partners. Sub-Saharan Africa has the fastest growing labor force relative to other regions, so we must develop our human capital advantage with the right education and the right mindset. Now more than ever, fintech is poised to become a crucial stepping stone that will propel Africa into becoming a truly digital economy. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your time.